This is Dan Hudson with University of Vermont Extension. Today I want to share with you a couple of videos to get you thinking about how to generate a data-based side dress nitrogen recommendation for your corn crop. Granted, it's late May in Vermont, 2013. The season hasn't gone as we've hoped. In many places the corn is not even up yet. Some probably haven't even planted yet. And so people might feel like it's a little bit early to be thinking about side dress nitrogen, but the time will be upon us soon. So let's think again about what can happen if we don't have enough nitrogen. Farmers all fear the situation we see on the left where the corn is obviously deficient in nitrogen. It's kind of yellow. We have firing in the lower leaves, stunted yield. On the right we have the excess situation, which really looks no different from the optimal, where you have nice large plants, but nobody wants to spend money on nitrogen that they don't need. The problem comes in how we know how much to apply. We know that yield goes up as nitrogen rate goes up to a point, and after that you don't actually have any yield benefit. One of the complicating factors in the Northeast, where most of the corn is grown in a dairy system, is that after manure applications are made, a certain amount of ammonia is lost by volatilization, and it's unclear sometimes how much was actually lost from a given farm. And the dynamics that affect that include weather patterns, including rainfall, temperature, wind, sunlight, things like that. And it's very difficult to put your finger exactly on how much nitrogen has been lost from the system. And aside from that, we can lose nitrogen to leaching and denitrification, and sometimes in cool years like this, the soil microbes don't mineralize that nitrogen as fast as they do in warmer years, and so it doesn't actually convert from organic forms to ammonium and then to nitrate as quickly as it would in a very warm year. So sometimes we feel like we're guessing blindly, and we have options as far as how we come up with the nitrogen recommendation. Some people might just take the advice of the first person that has some qualifications or not. Some people just base it on tradition. I put a certain amount of side dress nitrogen on every year no matter what. Other people might be inclined to test. And there are a couple of ways to do the testing. Since 1990, the pre-side dress nitrate test has been used by farmers. Some farmers like it, others don't. It's not a very convenient thing to do, to go out when you feel like you should be cutting hay or allocating some of your labor to go out and do this testing when the corn is 6 to 12 inches tall. Especially if you have stony soils, it's less than motivating. The other option farmers have had for the last couple of years is the Adapt-N tool, something that many farmers don't know about. It's a tool that actually models the system that we see here, taking into account all the variables, most of the variables that affect the nitrogen cycle, and then applying weather data on your farm to generate a good nitrogen recommendation for your crop. So I want to emphasize that I had no role personally in developing the Adapt-N tool, and I don't have any role in maintaining or administrating it, but I think it's a great tool for farmers to use to generate a recommendation that at least is a good starting place for them. And if nothing else, it's a great tool to help them to understand what is happening with the nitrogen on their farm. In the next video, we're going to look at how to plug your information in to generate a nitrogen recommendation for your farm, and how to set it so that you will get alerts to know if you've had a major leaching event or another nitrogen loss event that you should take into account when making your decisions. Again, this is Dan Hudson with University of Vermont Extension.